social media. I am on Twitter at USFL_low. I am also on Instagram at breakersnation.insider. I post stuff on there all the time, so make sure you guys are following me. And also make sure you're following the network on all social media. We post all kinds of stuff all the time, breaking news, player signings, all the good stuff. And subscribe to our YouTube as well, because you don't want to miss interviews like this. You don't want to miss press conferences, draft coverage, whatever it is. You don't want to miss stuff like that. So without any further ado, let's get to the intro.
Cuts it back, 5, touchdown Breakers.
All right, so today I am joined by Coach TJ Vernieri. How you doing today, man?
Logan, thanks for having me on the show. Really excited and so excited to be a part of the Breakers community and, again, being on this coaching staff and hopefully getting the championship in July. So let's get to work, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you coming on. It's very, very thankful.
No, anytime. Let's do this.
Absolutely. So the first thing I always do is I ask you guys to kind of talk about your life story a little bit. And, because at the end of the day, you guys are humans before you're coaches or players. So if you want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit about me. I don't know if you guys can notice, but my college jersey's right there, number 83. So I was a played wide receiver at the University of Connecticut from 2015 to 2018. And again, I was a wideout there, and I had a career-ending injury in 2018 where obviously it wasn't clear to continue my career. But from then, I was a student assistant coach at the University of Connecticut, my alma mater, and then I became the wide receivers coach at Lycoming College, a Division III school in Pennsylvania, and then I became an offensive assistant with the Calgary Stampeders in the CFL, and I got the bump to running backs coach with the Calgary Stampeders in the CFL, and then I most recently accepted the position and become the tight ends coach for New Orleans Breakers. So been a few different places now to this point. I'm 26. I'm very excited about this opportunity in this league, and I think there's just going to be the sky's the limit for our future collectively as a league, and again, myself as a coach, prospective coach, growing in the industry.
Absolutely. And you were a walk-on at UConn, obviously playing football and whatnot, and you were able to earn a scholarship. So kind of talk to me about what led to that and what made you want to, attempt to try to walk on.
Yeah, so believe it or not, I actually started off as an equipment manager my freshman year at UConn, which is great. Again, my dream was always to play college football. I wasn't highly recruited out of high school, so I did that. And again, I earned the opportunity to be a member of the team and where I was, and eventually worked my way up, like you said. And it was a tremendous journey. I am so grateful for the University of Connecticut and all the different people and again, coaches and players that I've been a part of. So it was a special place. Very special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's an incredible story in itself. And you were also, a two-time all AAC academic member. So, were you kind of always a good grades guy, very smart?
Yeah, I don't think I'm anything crazy, but really at the end of the day, I mean, those type of individual recognitions, it comes down to your process, right? And again, my process as a player and watching film and how I treat my body, again, carries over into the way I prepare as a coach. And that a lot of times that starts with your roots in the classroom. So again, those three things kind of intertwine. And again, I prepare the same way every single day, but obviously those are great things to have in your back pocket. But like I said, those things have helped me to become the coach that I am today.
And speaking of coaching, what kind of made you get into that or made you want to coach?
Yeah, so my dream was always to coach whenever I was done playing. Like I said, I didn't expect to have the career-ending injury I did in college. You're playing so long, you're playing your whole life from, again, I started when I was playing football, I was 5 years old. And eventually everyone hits that day that they can't do it anymore, whatever it is. And again, I took it upon myself that my head coach gave me the opportunity to become a student assistant at UConn, which was great. Shout out to Coach Etzel. I talked to him recently, so it was great to see him. But like I said, my dream was always to coach whenever I was done playing. So it's great to finally achieve that now.
Absolutely. And you kind of got your first, positional job at Lycoming College. So how'd you get to that?
Yeah, so we actually had a coach on staff at UConn. It was one of my coaches that was a alum of Lycoming, and then he put me in touch with the head coach, who's Mike Clark, and shout out to him. I hit him up recently as well, so him and I talked. But he put me in touch with Coach Clark, and then Coach Clark interviewed me, and then I got the job, and I spent 2 years there. It was a great time. I had some awesome players. The MAC conference is incredibly competitive. I think there's a lot of talent in that conference, in that league, and it was a really good time. We developed a lot of great players there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, after you were there for 2 seasons, right?
Correct. 2 seasons.
Right. So 2 seasons as the wide receiver coach, and then you end up in your first pro football job in the CFL for the Calgary Stampeders. How did you get to that point?
Yeah, so the American Football Coach Association does an annual convention, and I was actually just there a few weeks ago because I made the 35 under 35 list, which was a great opportunity. That's an awesome organization. Again, shout out to those guys. But 3 years ago, I had gone to the convention there as a coach at Lycoming, and I had a teammate in college. His name is Hergy Mayala, and him and I have a great relationship to this point in time. And I saw some individuals that were wearing Stampeders gear, and I said, "Oh, I kind of have a reason to go up to those guys and say what's up." One of my good teammates is playing for them because he was a first-round pick for the Stampeders in 2019. So went up to some of those guys and said, "Hey, what's up? You guys know my dog Hergy, all those great things." And eventually, I built a relationship with them. I stayed in contact. I was supposed to go for rookie minicamp, but unfortunately, that was canceled. And then they led me to the head coach, Dave Dickinson, who, again, shout out to Dave. I talked to him recently as well. But I stayed in contact with Dave for a year. He interviewed me, and then I got the job, and I was an offensive assistant there in 2021. And then I got the bump to running backs coach this past year. So incredible organization. I love that league. I love the organization. I met so many great people in my time there. So shout out to those guys.
Absolutely. And you coached, like you said, you coached running backs this past season. And you guys were the number 1 rushing offense in the CFL, were you not?
Yes, that's correct. We had Kadeem Carey, Dedrick Mills, and Peyton Logan. I love those guys. I talk to them on the regular. They're critical components of that team and that run game. And honestly, at the end of the day, those individual accolades, again, again team accolades, it goes back to those guys and the work that they put in. I mean, we led the league in rushing yards. Kadeem was the league leading rusher, and all 3 of those guys were over 6 yards a carry. So that was a tremendous team accomplishment of those guys. And like I said, it was great to be a part of that.
What kind of role would you say that you played in that, as that being your position that you were coaching?
Yeah, no, like I said, those great accomplishments always comes down to the team. The guys that put in the work were Kadeem, Dedrick, and Peyton coming to my office early in the morning and again, staying in tune with me and FaceTime calls. Hey, we're going into the game plan. So credit to those guys. Those great players accomplish great things on the field, and then we get a great team result. So
absolutely, and it sounds like great relationship building and things like that. And those are very important things. And so you touched on it earlier, a big reason of why you're on here is because now you're on the Breakers staff and you're part of the Breakers Nation. So how'd you get to be on the Breakers staff?
Yeah, so Coach DiFilippo, who's our head coach, it's funny. I actually have 2 different links that kind of lead me to Coach DiFilippo, in that when I was at Lycoming, I had an assistant, a coworker that worked with Coach DiFilippo. And then, who was at San Jose State with him when he was an OC earlier in his career. And then when I got to the Stampeders, our general manager, John Huffnagel, was his offensive coordinator when he was at the New York Giants as a quality control coach. So it's funny how those different chapters of my life have both kind of led me to Coach DiFilippo, and it's great to be a part of it. I've stayed in contact with him for quite some time, and it's great to finally work with him and be on his staff. So it's an honor.
So you did kind of know him before?
Yes, I knew him through the first assistant that I had at Lycoming led me to Coach DiFilippo.
Got you. It's so crazy how all this stuff works. I don't know. It's just how the connections, just knowing somebody can lead you. It's crazy.
No doubt. And then that was 4 years ago. So it's crazy how all this stuff happens. No doubt.
That's insane, man. It's small world. It's kind of how I see it sometimes.
For sure.
So you've coached wide receivers and you've coached running backs and fullbacks for Calgary in the CFL. And now you will be coaching tight ends for the Breakers. So I know that you played wide receiver in college and whatnot, but having never fully coached tight ends or played tight end, like how do you go about this?
Yeah, for my personal mentality is that there isn't a position on offense that I don't feel uncomfortable coaching. I firmly believe that me as a coach, that the way that I prepare, that I can coach any position on offense. So it's a great challenge to have that right now. Me being on my young journey, I think it's a great opportunity for me to coach a different position group. But I think what's really exciting and something that I touched on earlier was, again, fullback in the CFL is kind of tight end in USFL, NFL, XFL, those things. So it's a similar type role, but I think me as a receiver, I think there's different things that you can have as a receiver kind of background to running back play, which I did at the Stampeders. And now I can kind of bring that to tight end play with the Breakers. So I think that my background as a receiver will carry over and benefit the team in that regard. So I'm very excited about this opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, they catch the ball too, so I mean, that's,
Of course.
and I mean,
Yeah.
we had the best tight end in the USFL last year. So, it's, what kind of things will you be looking for in a tight end if you care to share?
Yeah, no, I think the most important thing for a tight end, and really comes down to every position group, is versatility, right? Because if you can block a defensive end, if you can second level and get to and block linebackers, if you can run routes, if you can catch the ball well, maybe you can get a handoff. A lot of those different things. I think a lot is asked of the tight end position nowadays, and I think it's kind of grown into, it's not just a guy attached to the line of scrimmage. You're kind of just a big receiver. You can be lined up outside. You can line up inside. You can line up as a wing in the backfield. So as long as you are versatile in terms of your knowledge and way that you can retain information and perform, I think those are the biggest assets that a tight end can bring to any team.
Man, I love offense.
It's the best.
I love it. I love it. Do you have any goals in mind for your tight end room, or just going into next season?
No, first and foremost, I want to win the championship in July. I think that would be a tremendous opportunity for us as a team. But at the end of the day, I mean, we want all of our tight ends, however many that we have and whoever we have, we want them all to be great in their assignments. And again, the alignment, execution, all those three things, those three principles that I consistently talk about, and that we're sound fundamentally. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And do you have any goals for yourself, for this season?
No, the challenge of, again, working with a different position group, my third position group in my young journey, I think is great. We led the league in rushing yards when I was with the Calgary Stampeders as the running backs coach, was a great accomplishment. Again, I don't chase the individual accolades by any means, but I think it would be great for us as a tight end room to kind of have a mantra, or have a identity to ourselves that the rest of the USFL knows and understands what the tight ends of the New Orleans Breakers are about.
Man, I love hearing this stuff. I love it. So, all right, backing away from football, when you're not, prepping for a season or doing that stuff, what do you do that's not football related?
I exercise every single day. I'm probably crazy with that stuff, but I love running. I love lifting. I just love being competitive and playing basketball, throwing the football around. Any sport that I can play, be a part of, is always great. Biking, walking, and whatever it is. I obviously spend time with my family, love spending time with friends, watching football. Even if it's not football season, I will consistently put on YouTube or watch, hey, what's an old game? Or I'll put something out there, hey, what old game should I watch tonight? Just get inspiration of different things. I mean, I'm married to the game in that regard. I never stop thinking about football, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty simple in terms of just spending time with family and friends. The simple things for me is what I enjoy the most.
Absolutely. You got to spend time with family, friends. You got to do that stuff. But, yeah, I hear you on the football stuff, man. Whatever it is, I love it. And we're getting football year-round now at this point. So, yeah. I mean, there's something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Do you have, anything that you do to prepare yourself? I know now, you're not playing, but, do you have maybe a routine that you use, before a game as a coach?
Before a game or practice week? So specifically before a game?
We can go with – you can answer both.
Well, I'll start with before a game. That's you asked first. But before a game, I mean, first thing I do is I like to be really early to the office. I like to be really early every single day. I know everyone kind of has their different routine, but I love being really early, especially on game day, because I can just kind of – it's quiet, get into my groove. I love to rewatch past games from that opponent. I'll go through every single play in the plan. I'll review my call sheet. I'll review all of those probably once or twice. and then I'll kind of sit back. I'll say, okay, I feel good about everything, and then I usually game days is usually when I check stats around the league. I don't know why that's become my habit of doing that, and say, hey, what's this guy up to? Because you have to stay connected in that regard to what's going on around you. Because if you know, hey, this guy, what's this team doing? What's this team doing? So tendencies, stuff like that, how they use personnel. But again, that's kind of the fun part of game day. And then we'll probably have some meetings, wherever it is, and then we'll get ready to go. And then maybe I usually call my parents as well. I usually call my parents the day before and day of the game, and go from there. In terms of practice week, I love getting in early, like I said, but I will review practice actually twice. I will go through, I will read every play for obviously typos and all those different things. And then I will make my own personal notes like, hey, what does the tight end, for example, being with the Breakers, what does tight end need to do here? Or any specific note like that. And then I'll go through my highlights. So it's probably actually 3 times that I go through it. But I go through that, and then, I'd like to think I'm very methodical and process oriented. I'd like to do my stuff in order for sure. So I can definitely drive myself nuts as things go crazy. But I definitely love to be methodical and rhythmic in my process, game day and practice week.
Absolutely. And on top of being the tight ends coach, you are also in is it offensive quality control?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. So can you kind of explain to the people that maybe don't know what that is, kind of what goes into doing that?
Yeah, so there is kind of a dual role to what I'm doing. So obviously I coach the tight ends, but the word quality control could kind of be seen a few different ways. Again, it always comes down to organizational structure. So offensive quality control on one team can mean something completely different to another. But from a generic standpoint, it's really just the taking care of kind of what it says in its title, quality control. So making sure that the playbook drawings are good, the practice scripts are right, little stuff like that. And any other piece of, hey, the schedule should be this or whatever. So I'm kind of not the final checker, but I do have a role in terms of making sure, hey, these drawings are right. Fix this route or fix this protection. There's a typo here. So little things like that, but that kind of supersedes, that becomes that title, that role of offensive quality control. But again, it depends on the organization that you're in. It's entirely organizationally dependent on where you are.
Absolutely. And do you have any idea of possibly what kind of things you'll be doing for the Breakers so far? Are you allowed to share anything like that?
A lot of the things I cover, I'm kind of again, in all of the roles that I've had, I've been a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. So I'll do a little bit of everything.
Got you. And I mean, that's what they're looking for, obviously, guys that can do a lot of things, because I mean, the staffs aren't humongous like they are maybe in college where you've got 900 assistants, yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I've got for you today.
Nice.
I would, love to have you on another time at some point.
Of course. That's not even a question, Logan. Thank you very much for having me. This was a great opportunity. Go Breakers, go everybody. I can't wait for this season to start. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I do want to ask you one more thing, kind of a lot of people talk about these spring leagues, trying to get players back to the NFL, trying to develop young players. But you, as a really young coach, you're getting an opportunity like this. How does it feel as, like I said, somebody who's younger in this profession to kind of feel like maybe you're developing yourself or you're helping get developed as well?
Yeah, I mean, every single day. I mean, we've all heard the phrase "every day is an interview," and I've I've had that mentality selfishly since I was 5 years old, and it's been my process as a player. It's been my process as a coach. Is it a great opportunity to be coaching pro football at 26? Yes, but I've never kind of looked at it as oh, hey, I'm 26, I should be at a lower level. I just view it as I do my job, I do it at a high level, and wherever that takes me, that's where it takes me. And that's what you earn at the end of the day. So that's been my mentality to attack every single day since I was a young individual, and that'll be my mentality right now and in the future.
Absolutely. I knew there was one more question that I wanted, and then it escaped my mind, and I was like, where is it? And then it came back. I was like, okay, I got those. If you want, you can tell the people where to find you on social media and things like that.
Yeah, give me a follow on Twitter. It's just at TJ Vernieri, which is, again, my last name. So at TJ Vernieri, and yeah, give me a follow.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, again, I appreciate you taking the time to come on, and I can't wait for this season.
Likewise.
I'll be watching the tight end room specifically now.
For sure. No, good. I love that. I can't wait to get to work. I seriously can't.
Absolutely. Well, uh, this has been another iteration of Breakers Weekly. Obviously, Coach Vernieri interview. And yeah, until next time, Breaker Nation, it is your boy Lo. I'm signing off.